Oh my. Hi. It's Miss Josette. I'm just so tired. Oh my goodness, it's the end of the week. It's been a long week. It's been a long school year. It's time for this week's Kids Club. And oh my goodness, I'm just so tired. It's the end of the week. And you know what the end of the week is? It is a time for rest. And do you know that even in the Bible, God told us that rest was something really important. It's the end of the school year. Our work is done. It's time for us to start to be able to have some rest, right? Rest is very important. That's one of the reasons why we do get breaks from school, why we do get to take vacations from work. Rest is very important. So what are some things that you like to do when you're on vacation? I like to read. I like to relax. I like to try new foods. I like to try to be able to just visit with friends and family. Those are some things that I like to do when I'm resting. I like to just do something that's away from my house and away from my job and my other stresses. I like to do something that's away. But I thought about this. The Bible tells us that God rested. The Bible tells us in Genesis, when it's describing how God created the world and everything he did, it talks about him creating the sun and the moon and the stars and him creating the animals. But it says on the seventh day, he made it holy. It's made holy because God rested from all of the work he had done in creation. So what do you think God did when he rested? Well, the scripture very clearly tells us one thing that God didn't do. It tells us that he didn't do any work. He didn't create anything. He didn't do any work. But what do you think God does in heaven when he rests? I don't know. We don't really know. We don't know if he threw a party. We don't know if he just kicked back. But one thing we know is that he didn't do any work. And one thing he probably did that we don't do is that we don't spend enough time just taking a moment. We don't do what God told us to do. We don't spend enough time taking a moment and looking around and enjoying all of creation. All day long, all the time, we are busy. We are running. We're busy. There's something to do. Like even this week, I've got something tomorrow. I've got something Monday. I've got something Tuesday. I've got something Wednesday. There's something every day. But there's a saying that says, stop and smell the roses. And one thing that the pandemic did for a lot of us, with us being stuck in quarantine, was it forced us to stop and slow down. It forced us to spend some time with our families, and it forced us to be together and take a break. We stopped and smelled the roses. What that means is that we are so busy that sometimes we forget to truly look at things, and we forget to truly take a minute to enjoy the beauty and the simplicity in things, to look at a flower and look at the details, to watch a fish swimming in a fish tank, or to watch a snail eating algae on the bottom of the fish tank and just look how cool and neat it is, and just take a moment to enjoy that. So let me show you some things. I've got a candle here. So check this candle out. How do you think that anybody can make a candle so smooth and so perfect and just all the different shapes? How do you think that can happen? Well, this one's obviously got a jar, so that makes a mold and makes a shape. But somebody had to pour the hot wax in here to make it form. And this one smells like frosted sugar cookies. We got this one as a Christmas gift. It smells like sugar cookies, so it would smell like fresh baking. But what if there was no wick inside this candle? What if there was no wick in this candle? If there was no wick in this candle, it wouldn't burn. Well, I'm really grateful that God has given people the talents to make candles and to put the wicks in them so it would burn. But if God hadn't given someone the talent to do this, do you know that I wouldn't be able to sit and look at what a peaceful flame looks like? Or if we hadn't know how to build a fire and build a fire like at retreat or at camp, we wouldn't be able to sit and look at a peaceful flame and just be able to appreciate the peaceful flame. So let's look at some other things that I have that I just want to stop and smell the roses, so we say. How about a Mandarin Orange? Now, these are my favorite. I love oranges of any kind, but mandarins are my favorite. Why, you ask, are mandarins your favorite, Miss Josette? Well, because the peel comes off so easy, and very rarely are there seeds in them. And the peel just comes right off of a Mandarin orange so easy. And sometimes if I'm super careful, I can get it all off in one swoop. Why do you think God made the skin so spongy and soft that it can keep the moisture inside there and that it can come off? But he made this nifty little fruit so that I can peel it all like this and then I can get it apart. But look what else he did. Inside that peel, it's all sectioned off in there. And it's all in each individual little piece, so I can just eat these individual little pieces. And if you're one of the guinea pigs in my house, oh, they get all crazy when you cut one of these open. These are jam-packed with nutrition and vitamin C. And if you squeeze it out, you can put a little bit in your water and flavor your water. If you add a little bit of sugar, you can have orangeade. I mean, just think about it. Oh, if you zest this off, you could put it in a cookie. I mean, just think of the things that God gave us in this Mandarin little orange and this handy dandy little wrapper that he gave it, that it's just this great little easy peel. I mean, this is amazing what God did. It's just utterly amazing. And then, have you ever watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and seen the episode where he goes to the Crayola factory? That's one of my favorite episodes, when Mr. Rogers taught us about how crayons were made. But I don't have a box of crayons because we've graduated to markers and colored pencils around here. But I've got a lot of different markers and all these different colors. You know, and we use them because we like to do a lot of art around here, and all the colors and the different kinds, they make things interesting and they make things pretty. But what if God had decided when he was making the earth to only make things two colors? I mean, like, what if he decided to make things just like brown and gray? I mean, how different would the world be if God just used like brown and gray? What color would the sky be if God just used gray? I mean, think about it. The sky right now, what colors can the sky be? The sky can be multiple shades of blue. Sometimes in the morning, the sky has pretty pinks and oranges and purples. And sometimes there's beautiful white streaks of clouds. Sometimes the sky is gray. I know that some of you are thinking, Miss Josette, the sky can be really gray and dark. You're right. But imagine that. And think about a fresh crayon or a fresh marker and how smooth the lines are and how smooth it goes on the paper. What would be different about paper without crayons and without the smoothness of it? If the markers were all rough and bumpy, or the crayons had like gritty rocks in them instead of being smooth wax, wouldn't it just ruin the artwork you were doing? And don't you think that like crayons and new colored pencils and fresh art supplies, don't they just like give you a sense of awe and wonder and excitement to be able to do a new art project? God made great things for us to be able to draw the beauty that he created so that we can take the art supplies that we have and recreate the art that he has made in nature. And isn't it amazing that God gave people the skills to make paints and crayons and markers and colored pencils, and a lot of those things, and a lot of dyes and paints and things all started from things in nature until we were able to make things synthetically and man-made. All started from things out of nature, from plants, and there are some things that are made out of bugs and things like that. But isn't it amazing how God gave people those things? But if we just keep going and going and going and don't take a second to look at these things and recognize how amazing these things are and take a moment to rest, we miss a lot. And last but not least, I've got a bunny here. This bunny has been in our house for 3 years because he says somebody in Connellsville, PA loves us. This bunny reminds us that Nanny and Pappy love us even though they don't live here in Penn Hills with us anymore. This stuffed toy is very loved. He has been hugged a lot. And what does it say? It says somebody loves us. What is a good thing about a stuffed toy when you're sad and lonely and there's nobody to play with, or maybe you've had a bad day? You can talk to that stuffed toy. Sometimes that stuffed toy can make a better playmate than a real person, because this isn't going to argue with you. And we want to make sure that we thank God for the gifts that he has given us, the gifts of our imagination, the gifts that we can use the crayons with, that we take the moment to thank him for the genius that he has of the Mandarin Orange in its perfect peel and its segments all brought out for us so perfectly. And the end that he has somebody who created the candle with its wicks, that we can look at the peaceful flame and we can smell the smells. But guys, what I wanted in talking about this at the end of the school year is for you to think this summer, as we've had a busy, crazy year, and you're going to go into a busy, crazy summer with baseball and softball and summer of camps and summer adventures and Kennywood and Sandcastle and all kinds of fun stuff. I want us to remember to stop and smell Jesus's roses. And you're going, Miss Josette, what does that mean? Well, guys, that means I want you to stop and be grateful for the many things that God has given us, and which can in turn he will give us so many more. And when we stop and thank him for those things, it will help us to look and be aware of more things that we can continue to be grateful for. Because guys, the evidence is all around us of what God has given us. And spring and summer are two of the biggest times when we can see the evidence of God's creation all around us. And this summer, while your minds are not busy with school, even though I'm sure they're going to be busy with video games and friends and Kennywood and Sandcastle, I want you to take a rest in God's creation and take a rest with God and be grateful and glad. I miss you all, and I can't wait to see you at Kidz Klub next week, and I look forward to seeing you at VBS next month. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.